My name is Rachel Blake. I'm 33 years old, and this is how I took revenge on the family who treated me like I was disposable. The morning of the twins' birthday party started like every other frantic Saturday. Balloons taped to walls, gift bags arranged by the door, a Pinterest-worthy cake I baked from scratch sitting proudly in the center of the table. I'd spent weeks planning it. The theme was space exploration. Miles wanted to be an astronaut, and Lily was obsessed with stars. I even sewed tiny silver capes for them to wear. They were already wearing them when the guests arrived, running around squealing with joy, faces painted, capes trailing behind them like comets. The parents, Travis and Monica Wells, arrived 20 minutes late, just in time to take credit for everything. Monica waltzed in wearing Chanel and sunglasses, even though we were indoors. Travis looked up from his phone long enough to give me a quick nod, the kind you'd offer a valet. They surveyed the setup and gave each other a smug little smile like it had all magically come together without effort or planning. One of the other mothers approached Monica and said, "This is beautiful. Did you do all this yourself?" Gesturing to the intricate decorations, the hand-lettered welcome sign, the gourmet cupcakes lined up like planets. Monica laughed lightly and placed a manicured hand on my shoulder. "Oh no, that's just the nanny. She's great with this kind of stuff." "Just the nanny," another parent added. "She clearly adores your kids." Monica replied with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Let's not confuse love with a paycheck. Something inside me shifted. I smiled, nodded, played along like I always did. But in that moment, something cracked. Because the truth was, I did love those kids. I'd held Lily's hand during her first vaccine. I taught Miles how to read. I'd stayed up all night when they had fevers, braided their hair for school, bandaged scraped knees. I had raised them while their parents jetted off to fundraisers and urgent spa retreats. And all I'd ever be to them was help, disposable, forgettable, replaceable. But that day, while Monica clinked glasses and posed for Instagram photos in front of decorations I made, I decided something very quietly, deep inside. They'd forget me eventually, but I'd make sure. They'd never recover from what I was about to do. I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment in Dayton, Ohio. My mom cleaned houses for a living 6 days a week, sometimes 7 when the holidays rolled around. She'd come home bone-tired, but she still made dinner, helped with homework, and kissed me goodnight like I was her entire world. We never had much, but we had each other. I learned early on that love wasn't about what you could buy. It was about who stayed when things got hard. I studied early childhood education at a state school, hoping to one day run a preschool, or at least teach somewhere I could make a difference. But after graduation, reality hit hard. Student loans, rent, and rising costs left me scrambling for work. Teaching jobs didn't pay enough, so I started taking nanny positions. It was supposed to be temporary, just until I found something more permanent. But then I met the Wells family. 5 years ago, Monica and Travis Wells were looking for someone experienced but low-key. Monica was very specific. No social media, no messy boundaries, someone discreet. I was 28, broke, and careful. I said all the right things in the interview, and within a week, I was living in their guest house and nannying full-time for their 2 children, Mason, then 3 years old, and baby Ava, who was still learning to sit up on her own. Monica was a socialite, the kind who hosted silent auctions but didn't know where the money went. Travis was a tech CEO who talked more to his Bluetooth than to his kids. From day one, it was clear. They wanted a warm body to fill the gaps, but they had no interest in parenting. And so I stepped in. I taught Mason how to hold a pencil, how to use words instead of tantrums. I rocked Ava through colic nights, taught her sign language before she could speak. I was the one who filmed their first steps, who clapped when they said mama, even though it wasn't meant for me. I took them to school, packed lunches, organized playdates. I sat in tiny chairs at parent-teacher conferences. Even though I wasn't the parent, they called me Ray Ray. When they had nightmares, they crawled into my bed. When they made crafts at school, they brought them home to me. On weekends, we built forts in the living room. I kept a drawer full of their drawings and notes, little hearts and crayons scribbled I love yous. I told myself this was just a job, but somewhere between cleaning up skinned knees and spelling words at bedtime, I fell in love, not with the role, but with them. I loved those children like they were mine. I remembered their shoe sizes, their favorite books, the way Ava hummed when she was falling asleep. I didn't see myself as a nanny. I saw myself as family . But Travis and Monica never did, no matter how many holidays I covered, no matter how many milestones I witnessed in their absence. To them, I was still the help. A line existed, invisible, sharp, and I only ever crossed it in my own heart. They never invited me to sit at the table when guests were around, never once included me in a family photo, even when I brought their sick child to the earth. Monica referred to me as the nanny on the release forms. Still, I stayed, because love, even one-sided, is sticky like that. But after 5 years of sacrifice, of pouring my whole being into those kids, that birthday party made something crystal clear. I was always going to be temporary to them, disposable, and the worst part, they expected me to stay grateful for it. It happened on a Tuesday, late afternoon, just after school pickup. I was in the mudroom, sorting through the kids' backpacks, pulling out crumpled drawings and snack wrappers, when I heard Monica's voice drift down the hallway. She was on the phone with her sister. She always spoke louder when she was gossiping or feeling important, which was often. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but some words are impossible to unhear. We're thinking of sending Mason and Ava to boarding school next year, Monica said, casual as ever. They're too dependent on her. Rachel's good, but I don't want her getting too attached. There was a pause, and then she laughed. She's already acting like she's one of us. I stood frozen with a crayon drawing still in my hand. It was from Ava, a picture of me, her, and Mason holding hands under a rainbow. She'd given it to me just that morning with a kiss on the cheek and said, "You're the best part of my life, Ray Ray." And yet, to Monica, I was just a staff member getting too sentimental. Like love was a liability, like connection was something that needed to be managed. I should have known, should have remembered that no matter how many scraped knees I patched or nightmares I soothed, I'd never be more than a placeholder, a contract, someone they could erase once the children didn't need me anymore. Or worse, once it became inconvenient for them to share emotional space. I didn't say anything that day. I cleaned up the backpacks, read the bedtime story, tucked them in like nothing had changed. But inside me, something began to shift, a quiet unraveling, a deeper kind of heartbreak than any boyfriend had ever given me. And then came the final blow. A week later, my mother died. A sudden heart attack. She was only 62, the only real parent I'd ever had. The woman who gave up her life to raise me. When I told Travis and Monica, I expected some semblance of compassion. Instead, Travis barely looked up from his phone. "Of course. Take some time," he said. "You can have the afternoon off. Just be back by bedtime. The kids need consistency." The afternoon. I buried my mother on a Thursday, standing alone at her graveside while the priest muttered prayers over soft wind and cold dirt. No friends by my side. I hadn't had time to call anyone. No eulogy. Just silence. No one from the Wells family even sent flowers. That day, standing at my mother's grave in borrowed black clothes and a heart torn open, I made a promise. I would never again let these people decide who mattered and who didn't. Not to me, not to their children, not to the world. They treated love like a job description, but they were about to learn what real love and real loss looked like. In the weeks that followed my mother's funeral, I functioned like a ghost, quiet, invisible, but always watching. I went through the motions: school drop-offs, bedtime stories, packed lunches, but inside, I was breaking into half grief, half fury. The pain of losing my mother still sat heavy on my chest, but the slow realization that I was also losing the only other family I had left, Mason and Ava, cut even deeper. So I started documenting every time Monica forgot a school meeting, every time Travis missed a pickup because he was in a zone at the gym, every tantrum the kids threw when they were left with strangers so their parents could attend galas. I wrote it down. I took photos of Ava's cavity that went ignored. For 3 weeks until I finally took her to the dentist myself. I saved emails, timestamps, voicemails. Late at night, when the house was quiet, I started recording short videos, not of the neglect, but of the love. Mason sobbing, asking for Ray Ray when he was sick. Ava whispering through tears that she didn't want to go to boarding school because they don't let you have hugs at night. I never prompted them. I just let the camera roll when their hearts broke open. Some nights I cried too, silent, head in my hands, afraid of what I was becoming, or what I was finally allowing myself to do. But the pain became fuel. I reached out anonymously to a law school friend who now worked with family courts. I asked about guardianship laws, emergency custody, anything related to psychological attachment. I didn't use names at first, just asked. Asterisk, what happens when the person doing the parenting isn't the person with legal custody? Asterisk, she told me, gently but clearly. Asterisk, it's rare, but not impossible, especially with proof. Asterisk, meanwhile, the Wells household grew colder. Monica told guests at a dinner party that I'd prefer to eat in the kitchen. I didn't, but I did it anyway. They forgot my birthday, again, and then 2 days later, handed me a typed letter. "Rachel, the kids will be leaving for boarding school next month. We'll wire your final payment and offer a reference if needed. Please don't make this awkward." I smiled as I took the envelope, said thank you. Then I went upstairs, closed the door, and sobbed until my stomach cramped. But after the tears dried, I opened my laptop, and I started building my case. I contacted Ava's old pediatrician, Dr. Patel, a woman with a memory like a steel trap. She didn't hesitate. "You're the one who brought them to every appointment." I remember thinking it was strange the parents never came. I asked, quietly, if she'd be willing to write a notarized letter stating exactly that. She agreed without blinking. The kids' teachers, same the crossing guard at school, confirmed I dropped them off every morning. The Nanny Cam app I still had access to, dozens of clips showing me caring, calming, comforting. I never planned to take the kids forever. That wasn't the point. but for once in their lives, I wanted Travis and Monica to understand what it really meant to be a parent. That love wasn't something you outsourced. That children weren't resume boosters or photo props. I wanted them to feel what I'd felt standing at my mother's grave. Powerless, small, alone. And I wanted to make sure that when they looked back at this chapter of their lives, the one where someone else held their family together, they'd never again forget my name. 2 days before I was set to leave the Wells house for good, Monica and Travis packed their designer luggage and flew out to Napa for a tech and wellness conference. They left me with a rushed goodbye and a printed schedule of when the new agency nanny would arrive Monday morning. "We've arranged everything," Monica said, already halfway out the door in heels that cost more than my car. "Make sure the kids are ready for the transition." That night, I watched Mason cry himself to sleep because Monica hadn't kissed him goodbye. Ava kept asking if the new nanny would know her bedtime song. I told her maybe, even though we both knew the answer. Once the house was quiet, I pulled the trigger. At dawn the next morning, I walked into the family court building with a thick binder full of documentation, missed doctor appointments, school events they never showed up for, emails where they forgot the kids' birthdays, a notarized letter from the pediatrician, character statements from teachers, time stamps of me doing the parenting for 5 straight years, and most importantly, the videos, raw, unfiltered clips of Mason and Ava clinging to me like I was the only safe place in the world. My petition was for emergency temporary custody, not forever, just long enough for the court to evaluate what parent actually meant in this house. I cited emotional neglect, psychological dependency, and child abandonment, which, in the state's eyes, isn't just about physical distance. It's about care. The judge didn't make a decision on the spot, but he sent a child advocate over that same afternoon. She arrived mid-morning. I made no effort to prepare the kids for her. I didn't need to. When she asked Mason who he felt safest with, he didn't hesitate. He wrapped his little arms around my waist and said, "Ray Ray, I don't want to go with Mommy. She doesn't even like me." Ava just nodded, quiet and wide-eyed, then crawled into my lap. That was enough. By that evening, the judge granted emergency custody, a 1-week hold while further evaluations were conducted. When Monica and Travis returned Sunday night, the driveway was lit with the soft blue and red glow of an officer's cruiser. A court order was taped to the front door. I was standing inside, the kids upstairs asleep, when they stormed in. "What the hell is this?" Travis barked, snatching the paper. "You're a damn thief." Monica's voice cracked with rage. "You've kidnapped our children." I stood there calmly, no longer shaking. For once, I wasn't the one swallowing my words. "I didn't kidnap them," I said, my voice low and steady. "I protected them, because somebody had to." And then I looked Monica square in the eyes, the woman who once told a stranger, "I was just the nanny. Now I'm just someone who cared more than you ever did." The courtroom was quiet, sterile, almost surreal. I sat at a table with my attorney, fingers folded tightly in my lap, while Monica and Travis sat across from me. Designer suits, furious eyes, fake composure. For once, the power dynamic was different. For once, they were the ones being questioned. The hearing lasted hours. The judge listened patiently as the pediatrician read her statement, confirming that I brought the children to 9 out of 10 appointments and was listed as the emergency contact. Mason's teacher spoke next, detailing how I was the only one who showed up for parent-teacher conferences. and how the kids would cry when someone else came to pick them up. Even the school therapist had a say. She explained the attachment patterns, the behavioral regression Mason showed after hearing about boarding school, and Ava's frequent anxiety whenever I was out of sight. I thought I'd be numb by then. But as I listened to these professionals describe the reality I had quietly lived for years, I felt something else rise in me, validation in the end. The judge didn't grant me full custody. I knew he wouldn't. But he did something far more unexpected. He awarded me shared guardianship legally recognized visitation rights, weekends, holidays, and partial say in educational and medical decisions, a ruling nearly unheard of for someone not related by blood. The courtroom went silent when he read the verdict. Travis's jaw clenched. Monica blinked like she hadn't heard it right. But I had, and I would never forget the sound of those words. That week, the Wells social circle buzzed like a broken beehive. Whispers at galas, canceled brunches, PR statements dressed in forced smiles. The family who once bragged about discretion had lost partial custody. To the nanny. Travis was quietly pulled from a high-profile speaking panel. Monica lost a skincare brand partnership. Incompatibility of values, they said to me. I moved into a small but bright apartment 10 minutes from the kids' school. A place of my own for the first time in years. There was no marble kitchen, no wine cellar, no nanny suite. But it was mine. Mason and Ava spent weekends with me now. We painted, danced, read books by flashlight in blanket forts. They called it Mama Ray's house. And then, slowly, they started calling me that too. Mama Ray. Can we stay up late? Mama Ray. I made you a picture. Mama Ray. I love you. Every time they said it, something in me healed. They had tried to make me invisible, dispensable, just a name on a payroll. But they forgot something vital. You can't erase someone who was the only one who ever showed up. They treated me like I was temporary. I became irreplaceable. It's a quiet morning. Soft sunlight spilling through the kitchen windows. The smell of peanut butter and toast in the air. I'm at the counter, packing school lunches with practiced hands. Ava stands on a stool beside me, humming a song from her music class while she arranges apple slices into little heart shapes. Mason sits at the table nearby, tongue out in concentration, as he colors a picture of the three of us, me, him, and